Good morning. I'm Kwame Scott. I'm a student at Valencia College in Orlando, Florida. I'm interviewing Mr. Nakia Anders as a class assignment. Mr. Anders, I understand that you began your career around 40 years ago after graduating college with a BSN in community health nursing. You worked in a clinical setting in the area in vitro fertilization, have a postgraduate degree in nursing, and also teach. Do I have the facts correct?
Yeah, pretty much. I got into. I started working as an oncology nurse in a cancer hospital, and yes, I did go on to do some work at the in vitro fertilization clinic at another hospital. Yes, you're pretty much right. Yes.
Can I ask you what attracted you to nursing? It's not an area that necessarily has many men in it historically.
Well, some background. My father was a medic, a corpsman in the army during the war, the Second World War. And I grew up in a poor neighborhood where there was a lot of people got hurt, stabbed, shot, whatever, in a city neighborhood. And, with my father's example, I decided that it was a good field to get into. Nursing was a good field, but I had expectation of doing pretty much what he did.
Can I ask, where did you grow up?
I
Where do you hail from?
grew up in the South Bronx.
Okay. Can I ask, did the reality of nursing live up to what you expected?
I went in with stars in my eyes. The reality was a bit different. Okay.
Yes, as it often is. Can I ask you, what kept you going all these years? It's been a very long time for this field.
Well, despite the disappointments, with the, and like I said, in any job, seldom lives up to what you expect going into it. But you make friends working, you start a family, you got bills to pay, and an important thing for me was these people who came up to me, friends or family of people that I treated, that I worked with in the hospital, yes, who, expressed their appreciation for my work. That was an important part of what kept me in the field.
Yes, it says you got your master's and you went to work in vitro fertilization clinic. How did you find time for that while also, doing more work in school and such?
Well, I always, worked while I was going I'm doing a bachelor's, I'm going to nursing school. Okay. We weren't at a rich family, I had to pay my way. But, what happened pretty much is I got into the habit of working and going to school, and as I worked, after I began nursing, I just kept taking courses. And one day I looked up and I had a number of credits I needed for my master's in nursing, so that's how that went.
You rarely see, you don't often see many people in field nursing for so long still in practical nursing. I know you do some teaching, but as you mentioned to me earlier, you still do some clinical work. You rarely see that.
Okay, all right. Let me clarify. I moved out of the city. I went to work in a hospital in upstate New York, and while I was there, some doctors opened up this in vitro fertilization clinic to help women, couples who were having problems, having children, with that process. And a vacancy came up when a nurse got sick, and I more or less volunteered.
Yes.
And I got, I became involved with those couples because I had mentioned I had worked for some time in oncology, cancer nursing, and so many of my patients died.
Yes.
That's all they did. You treated them and they eventually died. So this was a way of balancing the scales, helping to bring life into the world. And it was a challenge because of I was not a lab worker per se, but in the process of collecting, you did quite a bit of lab work because of the process of fertilizing the eggs that we collected and reimplanted in the wife, the woman. So that was challenging. It was expanded my range of skills, so to speak.
Is there any specific achievement that you're just very proud of? You've had a long, really great career, but is there any specific?
That's hard. Yes, the thing that I'm particularly proud of. I guess the working with the families, people, couples who came in for in vitro fertilization. There's many people who had tried for years to have kids, and they were desperate.
Yes.
And when you understand that the in vitro process back then, and even today, it's still not a guarantee. So when we had success and, a couple had a successful pregnancy, the joy on these people's faces and the fact that many of them came back to, it became almost like family with some of those couples and I, and that was very rewarding. In the clinic, I made some suggestions just to humanize the process because it can be very impersonal, the collecting of the sperm and egg and so on and so forth, and people come in very apprehensive. So I just some modifications of how we went about and how we engage people to lessen the coldness, potential coldness and impersonality of the process. What was, so I guess my achievement. But more than anything else, my teaching, I got into it because saw so many nurses come into the profession and,
not adequately trained. So
it's not just, there's more to nursing than just, learning the proper way to make a bed or tie a bandage on or whatever. It's dealing with the disappointments. There's a high burnout rate in the profession. Because again, that idealism you come in with and then find. So in teaching, I think I was able to pass on some of my experience and prepare people better for the reality of the profession.
Yes, the unfortunate fact that no matter what you do, people will unfortunately pass away. Do you have any advice concerning entering the field as such?
Well, one thing I can say is to enemies is general advice, not to people just in the field, but in my day, I say my day, when I started, we didn't have computers, access to computers, we didn't have the internet.
Yeah.
Today, the ability to keep learning, to keep growing, accessing the knowledge that's available to things like internet. We had to take time off, go to a library, spend hours reading, and now it's anybody with a smartphone, with a home computer can access knowledge. And that's my general advice. The world grows more complex, but at the same time, we have the tools to access information to keep abreast of and to expand our interests way beyond what was readily available back in my day. And that's my advice. Never stop learning.
Okay. I think that's about it, but let me just say thank you for stopping here with me. I know you have some physical problems, but a fantastic career. Thank you very much for stopping by.
You're welcome. You're welcome.